Today is a big win for mine workers as a landmark judgment has been reached in the silicosis class action lawsuit application. South Gauteng High Court has ruled in favour of the miners.
In October last year, over 50 former mine workers applied for certification of a class action against 32 gold companies. The workers were seeking compensation for having contracted silicosis while working at the mines. The mining companies opposed the certification, but today the court ruled in favour of the mine workers, saying, and I quote, "There is sufficient evidence for a class action, one for silicosis and one for TB. Mine workers correctly point out if class action is not certified, each miner will have to bring an individual application. Mine workers are poor and won't be able to access the courts individually," unquote.
Today's decision has made me happy. I'm very grateful to our attorneys as well. We've lost money. Today we have found something better.
Well, joining us now on the phone line is NUM Health Safety National Chairperson Peter Bailey. Peter, good morning to you. I guess your immediate reaction, it must be a victory for the miners.
Well, it is, but we must say that it's but one round of a much more bigger process that is going to take place, because this is just that there's sufficient evidence for a class action. But given the fact that there's already a settlement through Anglo Gold Ashanti and Anglo American, and then also the asbestos processes, one can almost predict what direction the outcome of the case is going to be. And we're quite excited about it, because as the NUM, we have always advocated the fact that mine owners should not concentrate or depend solely on the fact that the statutory compensation is adequate. They have contributed to the plight of the black mine workers in South Africa, and therefore should take full responsibility for that.
Peter, we're going to come back to you. We're just going to go to another phono quickly. That's the lawyer for the mine workers, Georgina Jephson, who's also joining us on the phone line now. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us here. First and foremost, could you just in layman's terms maybe explain and elaborate on what exactly a class action lawsuit is and what this means for the miners?
Thank you for having me. Good morning. A class action lawsuit is where a large group of people who have similar claims rising from a similar cause of action are allowed to institute one action on behalf of all members of that particular class, everyone who's been affected by that harm, similar cause. They can bring one case against the defendant or against the parties who caused that harm. So in essence, it essentially allows a multiplicity of claims to be decided and tried at one time, and thereby enhancing access to justice essentially to many people.
Well, Georgina, what is the significance of this lawsuit?
This judgment that's been handed down today is groundbreaking, to say the least. It has essentially said that mine workers South African gold mine, mine workers who work on South African gold mines who have silicosis are entitled to bring a class action against the mining companies for which they worked and on whose mines they became sick. It addresses a legacy that goes back, 100 years in this country, and it has the silicosis epidemic is prolific amongst the gold miners, ex-gold miners throughout the Southern African region. So the fact that the court has held that they are entitled to approach a court on a class basis to enforce their rights and have their issues decided on a class basis is monumental, and it's significant. It's a huge victory for mine workers and their rights today.
Could just maybe expand on the way forward now in order to secure that compensation?
Sorry, could I expand?
Way forward now and what the way forward is with regards to securing that compensation.
The way forward is that we now need to embark on a notification campaign so that all potential members of the class are aware of the class action, and they are given the opportunity to exclude themselves from the class action if they wish to do so. And thereafter, we will then have to launch the class action and proceed to trial, embark on the discovery process, and then start trying the issues that needed to be determined on a common basis.
Peter, are you still with us? Now, obviously, the plight of the mine workers, a victory for them there. We've seen the plight of mine workers very much in the news over the past couple of months with the Lily mine workers as well. A victory for mine workers and their safety. You must be happy with this.
No. We've always been excited. Any attempt that seeks to get justice for Black South African mine workers is a victory for us as in general, and we will be participating in the process in ensuring that people get registered. The biggest challenge, though, is that is now after the process of launching the court application and having people be part of that, but to make sure that these people are indeed affected and infected by silicosis and tuberculosis.
Peter, with regards to NUM's expectations or what NUM would like to see, what is with regards to the outcome of this case, what would NUM like that conclusion to be?
Well, the conclusion must obviously be that the mining industry must take responsibility, and that you can't shift the responsibility, because we've always said that the mining industry has been the only industry that has had the luxury that after they've maimed and infected people to the extent that it has, the state then takes the responsibility of carrying the burden, and they are dumped on society. And now, in this process, and in the process of the negotiated settlement between Anglo-American and Anglo-Gold Ashanti, the mining industry is now going to be held accountable to take full responsibility that when people get ill as a result of poor and non-existent safety practices in the workplace, at least they will now also take responsibility in letting them either live with the plight of the illness with dignity or die with dignity.
Georgina, coming back to you, who are some of the mining houses involved in these cases?
We've included practically all the companies that have mined gold that still exist or are still mining gold in South Africa. So it includes Anglo-American, Anglo-Gold Ashanti, Goldfields, Harmony, DRD Gold, African Rainbow Minerals, and Rand Gold, and their subsidiary companies.
And time framing now, take us through the time frame now. It's obviously a lot of information that you have to get through for all the mine workers that have been involved in this. Do you have to now get all that information in order to start applying for compensation?
Correct. We now, as I mentioned previously, we're going to have to embark on a notification campaign, letting everyone know of their rights in terms of the class action. And then from there we will need to go on to launch the class action, and then embark on the discovery process, which, as you mentioned, will probably be an extensive process of exchange of documents between us and the mining companies, where they hand over documents relating to their mining practices, and we hand over documents relating to our clients and to the members of the class. And the purpose of that process is for us to prove our case, and it's for them to defend their case.
Thank you very much to you, Georgina, for your time. Thank you, Peter, as well for your time. That was Peter Bailey, National Chair, NUM Health Safety, as well as Georgina Jephson, the lawyer for the mine workers, just chatting to us. Today is a big win for the mine workers as a landmark judgment has been reached in the silicosis class action lawsuit application. The South Gauteng High Court has ruled in favor of the miners. Do stay tuned to ANN7 and Ground Report. We will keep you up to date.